Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Kimberly from the marketing team here at EasyVet and your host for the webinar today. As you would have heard, we have recently partnered with VetSuccess and we're excited to present today's topic, VetSuccess, staying one step ahead of your practice's performance. Our presenter today is Brittany Prusa, account manager and one of the many data experts from VetSuccess. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please just type them into the Q&A chat box found in the control panel below in your Zoom screen. And I'll be keeping tabs on them, and which I'll bring up your questions towards the end during the Q&A portion. I'll also be sharing any links mentioned by Brittany throughout, so you can click through if you wish in the chat box screen as well. Now, without further ado, I'll hand you over to Brittany.
Thank you, Kimberly. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. As Kimberly mentioned, my name is Brittany Prusa. I am an account manager with VetSuccess. We are very excited for this integration with EasyVet. It is something we have been working on for quite some time, so we are excited to bring this to you guys. Today, we'll go over the process of what it looks like to sign up with VetSuccess, as well as the products that are offered for you guys. We'll go over some package and pricing options, and then we'll leave a little bit of time at the end for some questions to be able to answer live. So we'll get going here. A little bit about what VetSuccess's secret sauce is. When we first get connected with you guys, when you guys decide on a product that you want to enroll with, the first thing we have to do is get access to your data. We have a direct integration with EasyVet, and so we get a few different types of numbers out of your EasyVet software, and that allows us to get that direct integration. Once we are able to get a hold of that data, then we go through our normalization process. This is the secret sauce. And the normalization process is where we take a list of all of your codes inside of EasyVet, and we put them into the categories and the subcategories that they belong in. And this is extremely important in our industry in general with veterinary data because of how messy it is, because every practice is able to create their own codes and create their own descriptions. There is no standard set, and every practice calls a code something different. And you guys can also have multiple codes in one category. And so it's very difficult to be able to normalize on your own and make sure that when you're pulling reports, you're pulling them the exact same way you pulled them the month prior. And so the normalization process is extremely important. I'm going to give you guys an example in the next couple of slides to show you just how messy that data is. But before we get there, the next step after normalizing is analyzing the data for the products that you guys just decide to enroll with. And so we visually create these very easy to read and understand reports that are actionable on the practice level. And we serve them up a couple of different ways. We do send you an email each month when a new report is available, just to give you a reminder. And then we also create a portal that you can log into at any point in time and have as many users as you would like. And there you guys will have all of your reports stored, and you can go back and look at previous reports if you need to. So a little bit about that normalization process and why it's so important. The challenge with veterinary data is how messy it is. And here we can see each of these practices call their dental codes something completely different. And we did a study looking at just one unique SKU at 1,083 practices, and 851 of them had a different code. And so you can imagine how difficult that is for the practices to be able to memorize all of their codes and be able to pull those reports consistently each month. And today I want to go through all of our products. We like to categorize them in 4 different areas here. We have monitor and benchmark KPIs, retrieve lapsing patients, track compliance, and also drill into daily metrics. So I'll go ahead and start with monitor and benchmark KPIs. This is our practice overview report. It is one of our monthly reports, and we send it at the beginning of each month with the previous month's data included. It is about an 8-page report, and we break it up into 3 key areas. So we look at patient activity, revenue, and customer service. We also include benchmarks on this report, and it really is actionable for all staff members in the practice, which is one of the biggest things that I like about it. Is it's not just geared towards practice owners. There's some sort of metric for every staff member in the practice to be able to set a goal and then monitor their progress each month. So a few of the metrics that you would find on the practice overview would be the patient activity details. And this helps you answer the question of whether you are attracting and retaining patients. And so we look at new patients, returned, lapsed, as well as deceased. On the right-hand side, we're looking at the current month. We do break it up by canine and feline. You can see in the light and dark colors. And then we also put it on a 12-month trend line. And you'll see a lot of trend lines throughout all of our products. We are very, very big on trend lines at VetSuccess. It really allows you guys to see the larger picture and really the story behind your numbers. So it's easier to understand exactly what's happening and be able to make those changes. It also helps you guys identify where there's something concerning happening very quickly, rather than it happening for months and months and we don't notice it for a long time. We also look at active clients and patients. So again, another trend line here. This one you can see up to 24 months worth of information, so you can compare year over year. We give you the total number for the current month, and then we also show the net change from the previous month and from the previous year. And at the bottom of this metric, we give you a benchmark. So you get to see where your practice is sitting, what percentage you're at, compared to that average. And the average is looking at over 2,000 participating VetSuccess practices. We also look at unique patient visits and revenue per unique patient. A unique patient is going to be any patient that has been seen at least once in a given period of time. And so an example of this would be a dog that comes in multiple times in 1 week for an issue, or a cat that has to come in 4 days for IV fluids. We're still only going to count that patient as one unique patient, but we'll add up all of their invoices to give you the revenue for them. That way your patient count is not inflated for seeing the same pet over and over. We also like to always track these two numbers right next to each other, because what we don't want to see is a practice trying and setting a goal to see more patients and see that trend line increasing for the unique patient count, but that revenue per unique patient potentially decreasing. And we do see this sometimes when practices get too busy and they have too many appointments. They don't have enough time to educate their clients on your protocols. We may be missing services because we're so busy. And so it's very important to track these two right next to each other. We also get into revenue, and here we're looking at overall gross revenue, again on a trend line, so it's very easy to see your current totals compared to the previous year. We do have a hover over feature, so out on a live report, as you put your mouse over the bars, you'll get that additional box that pops up that tells you what your gross revenue is, what the change is from the previous year. And if you guys are currently using VetSource for an online pharmacy, we can layer in that data as well and be able to show you what your revenue is for VetSource and what your in-clinic revenue is as well. And then we take that revenue and we break it down even further. So you can identify exactly where those dollars are coming from. We do align all of your revenue categories to the AHA VMG chart of accounts. That is part of that normalization process we were talking about. And all of that is done on the back end. It doesn't change anything inside of easyvet. You guys don't have to go in and change any of your codes or categories. We'll do it all on the back end. That way everything is aligned to that chart of account. And on this page here, you'll see the main categories. We look at how much revenue was in each category for the month that we're looking at, what the percent of revenue was, and then again, a hover over feature on the green bars that give you additional information. And so if you are utilizing any of the subcategories within that main category, we'll give you that revenue information as well. So how much revenue did you generate in those categories? What was your practice revenue per patient? And what is the benchmark revenue per patient? And we look at a revenue per patient number here for a benchmark especially, to be able to compare each practice to each other no matter the size of the practice. And so that's why we do break it down like that for you. We also include in the top right a revenue statement that downloads into an Excel spreadsheet like this. It gives you every single chart of account category and subcategory, and then all of the revenue information associated with those. And across the top, you'll see that we do give you some previous period information as well that you don't get on that regular report. So you can dig into these numbers a little bit deeper on this appendix to identify how you're trending from previous periods. And then we also get into some client service metrics like forward booking, which would look at, of the patients you saw this month, how many of them are already booked for an appointment into the future. Also put on a benchmark for you. Patient demographics is going to look at what percentage of each age category you have for both canines and felines. We have a lot of practices that will use this metric for marketing purposes and what you're putting out on social media. Are we attracting new clients if our puppies and kitten percentages are getting lower? Are we offering the correct services for our seniors and geriatrics if we have a large enough percentage of those? And then we also track how many emails you have on file for your active clients. We do give you an additional appendix on here as well that gives you a list of your clients who do not have an email on file, just to make that metric actionable on the practice level. And then we also look at your lapsing patients and those who have lapsed up to 36 months. We highlight the lapsing patients here. These are the patients who haven't been in the clinic for a service in the last 14 to 18 months. So while they still are an active patient, they are overdue for their annual visit. And so we want to reach out to them and get them to come back through the door before we completely lose them as a patient. And we can do that a couple of different ways. On this report in the top right corner, you do get 2 appendices that give you the names of who these patients and clients are. And it does also give you all of the information you would need to reach out to them. So if you have someone in the clinic who has the bandwidth and the time to be able to manually reach out to these people, they would use those appendices to know who they should reach out to. The other option that we have, and another product that we offer, focuses specifically on retrieving those lapsing patients. And this is through an automated email series. So we send 3 emails. The first one goes at 14 months, the second one is at 16, and the last one is at 18. Each email is a little bit different when it comes to subject and picture and all of that, but the overall concept of all of them is the same. And it is just the importance of an annual checkup. And the goal is to get them to book an appointment. And these emails are sent automatically. We do it on the back end, so there's no work on the practice level. It just automatically gets sent out when one of your patients hits that 14, 16, and 18-month mark of not having a transaction in the practice. So one of the examples of what an email looks like is here. So you do have your practice information in the email, so the client can call you guys and book something. They also have 2 options to click on that will send you guys an email. So they can click here to request an appointment, and then they can also click the Book Now button down below. It does not automatically put an appointment inside of EasyVet. You guys will still have full capability of moving those appointments around. This will send you guys an email letting you know this client does want to book something, and then you guys would reach out and confirm a date and time with them. And then the last option that they have on each email is a no thanks survey. And this allows them to let you guys know if they're not coming back to the practice and why. And there's some different options for them to select. And then there's also a comment section if they want to write something to you. But that way you guys can then update EasyVet if they're not coming back and have the most up-to-date information as possible. So the emails go to the clients. You guys at the practice level will receive a monthly report that will track what this program is doing. And so the blue column, we keep track of each month. How many emails did we send? How many patients were retrieved? And how much additional revenue came from those appointments? And then we also keep track of all time. So since you've enrolled with the program, what is that return on investment? We have done a study recently that shows on average practices earn more than $8,000 in revenue in just 8 months of running Retriever. And so the return on investment is great. It usually always pays for your monthly VetSuccess subscription. So just another bonus there. And you guys don't have to do anything. This is kind of a set it and forget it program. We set it up and all of the back end work is done automatically for you. You do get 2 links at the bottom of this report. So the view detail link gives you the names behind all of these numbers. So you can dig into who those 10 patients were that were retrieved this month, when they came in for their appointment, and how much each of them spent. And then your no thanks surveys will live here as well. So each month you would have someone check and see if any new surveys have been updated, and then go ahead and update EasyVet. Our last monthly report focuses on tracking your compliance for preventive care. And this is with our preventive care snapshot. This allows you guys to see 8 key areas. When it comes to preventive health, we do not look at production. So it is not production based, and we're not focusing on revenue here. We are solely looking at compliance. And we do break this out on a practice level percentage as well as by provider. There are also some appendices included on this report that help you guys take action in the areas that you guys want to work on. And so the practice level report would look like this. There are a lot of numbers and percentages, and so we have created this report using a heat map to help you guys quickly be able to monitor these numbers and see if there's an area that you should focus on. And we do also break it out by age category across the top, since those protocols can change depending on the age of the dog and cat. Down the left-hand side are going to be your core elements. And so for this chart, we're just looking at our canines. And I'll just take the total column to give you an example of how this reads. So this is telling us that last month, this practice saw 1,030 canines. And out of all of those dogs, 989 of them left the practice compliant in their wellness exam, and 268 left compliant in wellness blood work. So on down that list. It is not saying that you guys completed 268 blood works, because some of those dogs that came in last month could have already have been compliant in that area. Maybe they came in for a skin issue or an ear issue, and you guys are not going to make them complete something if they're not due for it. And so if they were already due when they came in, they're going to be marked as compliant here. And so you can see how that is not tracking production. And then an example of breaking it out by provider. Here we're just looking at one core element at the heartworm tests. And then down the left-hand side are your providers. So you can see how compliant each provider is in each category to make sure that we have consistency across everybody in the practice when it comes to what your protocols are. And it can also help with education if that's needed in certain areas. If you have one doctor that is excelling over all of the others in a certain area, we can take them and see what they're doing differently and have them help educate the others. Appendices on this report will give you the names of all of the dogs and cats that came in, all of the information you would need to contact them. And then on the right-hand side, it gives you a list of everything they are and are not compliant in. And so very quickly, you can come in here, you can sort a column for whatever category you guys want to focus on, and immediately you have a list of patients who are not compliant. So you can send a very targeted email, you guys can reach out via phone if that's what you want to do, but all of the information you would need to contact them is going to be in these appendices. And then we have a product that drills into daily metrics. And this is our standard daily dashboard. So this product updates on a daily basis. So that's one of the biggest differences between this and the monthly reports. And it also allows you guys to drill into different time periods, different providers, look at revenue. It can aggregate data. If you guys have multiple locations that are using the same easyvet platform, we can get you the data from each of those practices so you can see them as in an aggregate view, or you can dig into them deeper and look at individual numbers as well. It is a very interactive product as well. So I'm going to switch over to a live demo of this. This is a live demo of the daily dashboard. There are 3 tabs to the daily dashboard down at the bottom. This first tab is our summary tab, and we look at 3 main metrics here. We're looking at revenue, number of patients seen, and revenue per patient. And you can at the top filter to look at just your canine numbers or feline numbers. And if you see anything outside of canine and feline, that will live in your other category. And you can also choose to look at the practice as a total. And on the summary tab, we look at this on a daily, weekly, and monthly level. So for the daily column, each green bar represents a day. So as you hover over that bar, an additional box will pop up and tell you the day that we're looking at and the revenue associated with it. We also show you the previous year's average with the dashed line across the daily column. Same concept with your patients. As you hover over a green bar, it shows you the day and how many patients you saw that day, as well as the day and what your revenue per patient was. And we do give some additional metrics at the top of the daily column. You get to see your month-to-date totals, your previous month-to-date, previous year-to-date, and what that looks like percentage-wise month-over-month and year-over-year. And for the weekly column, each green bar represents a week. And as you hover over, it shows you the number of weeks that we're looking at and the revenue associated with that week. And then the blue bar on this weekly column gives us the actual revenue from the previous year. So it's giving us a true trend line on a weekly basis. The monthly column shows you this year compared to last year. And then again, some additional metrics looking at your year-to-date total. Year-to-date, year-over-year shows you how you're doing percentage-wise right now in 2020 compared to 2019. And then year-to-date, previous year-over-year shows you how you were doing in 2019 compared to 2018. So giving you a 3-year trend on that monthly revenue. And then the Providers tab has the most filtration options, so I'll start there. And the top left, you can see we can go back and look at 3 years worth of information. As long as you've been using easyvet and that historical data is inside of the software, we can access it and be able to show you 3 years worth of history. And then you also have a list of all of your months. These can be multi-selected, so you can choose to look at a quarter at a time or biannual if you need to. The first column will give you a list of all of your providers, and you can choose to look at number of invoices, patient visits, or revenue. And so as you select a different metric, that column will change to show you those numbers. The middle column focuses on percent of revenue by category. And then the last column focuses on appointments. And we do look at the last 6 months worth of appointments plus the current month that we're on. Your appointment column could look a little bit different than this because we are pulling directly from your scheduler. So it'll depend on the types of statuses you guys are using. If you are using statuses, you'll be able to hover over and identify how many appointments were marked in each of those statuses. For current bookings, this is also pulling directly from your scheduler, and these are the appointment types that you guys have created and you are using. So depending on what you guys are utilizing in EasyVet will depend on what is showing up here. And this allows you to track all of your current appointments on the scheduler. Forward booking is the same concept as the practice overview report, but because this dashboard is updated on a daily basis, we are looking at this on a rolling 30 days. And then down at the bottom, we do track the upcoming next 3 months worth of appointments. And so this is telling us that this practice already has 39 appointments booked in August. We can dig into those numbers by just clicking on 39, and your current bookings column will change to show you what those 39 appointments are. The last filtration option on this report is the filter by provider. And this will give you a drop down of all of your providers. You can also type in this field as well. And when you do filter for one specific provider, you'll notice all 3 of our columns change. And so now we're only focusing on Dr. Hugo's information. So now we can see his percent of revenue in each category compared to the practice percent. Now all of these appointments listed are the appointments that he was attached to in the past. His current bookings highlighted for his appointments in August. And then now this is his own individual forward booking rate. So this does allow you guys to track each of your providers' forward booking rates separately. The last tab of the daily dashboard is our item codes tab. This gives you a list of all of the codes in your system. So it shows you the item code you've created, the description you've created, and then the category that we have put those codes in. Again, more filtration options. So you can choose to look at number of invoices, quantity, and or revenue. And you can filter by one or multiple categories or one or multiple line items. And so this allows you to see your numbers right next to each other to be able to compare a couple of products together or a couple of services right next to each other without having to scroll through hundreds of codes. And we're always tracking what you've done so far in the current month, what you did in the previous month. Next month, previous year is an inventory forecasting tool. So this allows you guys to identify what you did in August of 2019 to help forecast what you would need to purchase in August of this year. And then we do also always have a rolling 12 months. You can sort just a little bit with inside of the dashboard. If you click on one of these headers, it will put it in ascending or descending order for you. But we have also added the feature to be able to export this information to Excel. We have a lot of our inventory people track these numbers regularly, and they use Excel to sort and filter and layer in different data sources. And so this page does allow you to export. And that is the daily dashboard. So I will jump back over to the PowerPoint here, and we'll go into the package and pricing options. And we do have a few options to build a package Everything we went over today can be purchased a la carte by itself, but the first three products that we covered, which were the practice overview, the preventive care snapshot, and retriever, can be bundled. So you could do all three of those for $179. We can choose any two of those for $139, or an individual option at $79. And then down below, the daily dashboard that we covered will always be a $99 monthly fee. And you can get everything together if you want. That would be $179 plus $99. Or we have a lot of practices that will do the daily dashboard and add on retriever. So that would be $99 plus $79. So you can really pick and choose the exact package that would work for you guys. And then just real quick, I wanted to mention, in case you guys were not aware, we have recently partnered with VetSource and Vet2Pet, and we have become what is called the VetSource family of companies. That includes home delivery, VetSuccess, and Vet2Pet, partnering together to really bring practices the complete package that they need in the practice to really help strengthen those client relationships, reduce pain points, and also create those raving fans through your Vet2Pet app as well. Kim, I think you wanted to mention something here.
So in a couple of weeks, as part of the partnership launch, we'll be hosting another webinar with VetSource about helping your clients get pet food and medication through home delivery. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Great. So with that, we will go ahead and open up the Q&A portion of the webinar. I'll begin with a few questions we had from someone who wasn't able to attend. He had a question about, could you explain a little bit about the data security and how they can be confident that the data is secure?
Sure, great question. We are a data company, and so as you can imagine, we take data security extremely important, and we want to be very safe with the data. And we like to categorize it in four main areas of what we actually do with the data. So one, we generate very easy to read and understand actionable reports. Two, if you guys agree to it and you choose to opt in, we can also create reports that are sponsored by some of our industry partners like Elanco and Patterson, but that would be something that you guys would have to actually opt into yourselves. Number three, we create highly targeted client communications that, again, with your permission, we send on your behalf. So that would be like our program Retriever, where we are emailing your clients directly, but we do not do that unless if you guys ask us to do that. And number four, we study your data. And part of that is pulling in all of the data that we have access to and aggregating all of it to be able to do research and give you industry numbers and be able to bring benchmarks to you guys on our products so you can compare yourselves to everybody else and see where you guys are sitting. And so we do take it very seriously. We use a platform the same as Amazon and your bank account, so it is a very, very secure system, and we take it very seriously. We don't sell data, we don't give your data away, and we won't do anything unless if you guys are asking us to do something.
That's great. And this brings the question about benchmarks. One in the audience asked, do you have benchmarks for different practice types, such as emergency, general practice, and specialty?
Good question. I actually just had someone bring this up this morning. We currently do not, and that is mainly because we are not connected to enough emergency or specialty only practices. We are definitely connected to some who do emergency as well as general practice, but with their general practice numbers, it can skew the emergency or the specialty numbers. And we have to make sure that we are connected to enough practices doing the same thing to give you guys, significantly good benchmarks to compare yourselves to. So it's something that we always talk about as a team, and hopefully someday we will be able to bring those those types of benchmarks to the table, but currently we do not offer those.
I have quite a good question here about lapsing patients. One of the audience asked, we see a lot of military in our area, which means we have patients and clients who leave after 2 years when they move. Is VetSuccess able to categorize clients who move out of your area differently so they don't show up as lapsed after they move?
Good question. We don't focus on military. We do see this with military or like snowbirds and warm climates. We're not able to remove military clients from that list. We can exclude emergency and referral patients through our retriever program. But what we always recommend when it comes to military or snowbird clients is making sure that you guys are inactivating them in your system when they do move away. And retriever will not pick up anybody that is inactive in the system. And technically they are no longer an active client or patient of your guys's since they did move away. And so what we would recommend is going ahead and inactivating them.
Got a question about the emails. But can the link in the emails to request an appointment link to the portal so they can book online? I gather this would be the EasyVet portal. Is the email customizable to include that link?
Another great question. Currently, those emails are not customizable, so we cannot add any links at this time. The main reason why we don't allow those to be custom is because we do A/B testing on those emails ourselves to make sure that what we are sending out to the clients are getting us the best results. And if we allow practices to customize them on their own, the results may vary. And so we want to make sure that we're giving them the best chance to get the best results out of that program. We currently do not have the option to allow people to book directly into your scheduler. It is something that we are looking into, but currently we do not have that functionality.
And is the integration, with EasyVet two-way? Can we use the compliance reports in VetSuccess to set automated communications within EasyVet?
It is not a two-way integration. Currently it is only a one-way. We do not write back into EasyVet. So everything we give you, if you guys want to add something into EasyVet, that would be a manual process. And so for the compliance, the preventive care compliance snapshot, you guys manually would have to create those newsletters and send those out. It is not something that can automatically be generated.
And I think we're currently in talks. We're working on that. So in the near future, that might happen. Yeah. What type of customization can you do in terms of reports? Can you create your own different views and reports?
So we do have a custom option. For any practice, we use a Microsoft Power BI platform to create custom reports for practices. Everything we went over today, I like to call it standard. The metrics that you see cannot be changed, but through our custom dashboards, you guys can really create any metric that you guys want to track. As long as it lives inside of EasyVet, we would be able to get access to it and be able to create custom reports for you through the dashboards. Pricing does vary with custom dashboards compared to what we went over today. So if any of you guys are interested in learning more about that, you can reach out to me and we can schedule a demo to go over the custom dashboards in more detail.
And what does the user management look like? Can you grant different roles, different levels of visibility or access, similar to EasyVet?
So we cannot grant different levels or different views. We do have the possibility of allowing you to pick as many users as you want access to that portal, but we can't choose which products live in each view. So what I always recommend to people, if they do have some other staff members in the practice that they want to send a specific report to, you would download that report from your portal and then email it to that staff member. because if they do have their own username and password to log into the portal, they will see all of the products that you have enrolled with.
Great. It looks like we've covered all our questions. Brittany, is there anything else you'd like to add before I wrap up?
The only extra thing that I would like to say is if you guys are interested in doing a one-on-one demo with me, or you would like me to go over any of this information with other staff members of yours, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to schedule a one-on-one call to talk to anybody else that needs to go over all of this in more detail.
Absolutely, and I'll provide your details as well with the recording.
Perfect.
All right, I'll now bring this webinar to an end. Thank you, Brittany, for presenting. Thank you very much to our audience as well. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen in.